Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Spectator Mode Podcast. This is episode 33. I'm Diego Perez, running the show this week, and with me, we got Rob, like last week. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Good to be back.
And joining us after an absence, Keith Mitchell. What's going on, man?
What's up, guys? I'm back. I apologize for last week. Just a lot of real life issues going on. You know, the life of an adult and a father and a husband. You know, those kind of things.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Super fun.
Anyways, we're going to start off the show like we always start off with the games that we have been playing. It's been a really packed week with news, but we've found some time for some video games like we always do. Keith, what have you been up to this week, video game-wise?
Oh, man, I'm just so busy. I have a couple of obligations I need to live up to, obviously. But I've been playing a lot more Destiny 2 just because Destiny 2 Shadowkeep is this upcoming Tuesday, and I'm trying to get a lot of badges or tokens for Armor 2.0. So I've been playing Crucible and doing strikes and doing solo nightfalls, which I haven't done yet because I don't have a guild, so I can't do those yet, which really sucks. But outside of that, that's it. Destiny 2 and the Surge 2 and going crazy.
So these tokens in Destiny 2, for those of us who aren't familiar, what do they do exactly?
So with Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, there's a new armor system in place that lets you mix and match your armor. Basically add certain traits to them, certain attributes to accommodate your playstyle. And what these tokens do is once the update comes out, you'll be able to exchange these tokens for upgrading the armor. They haven't said exactly what we can do, but they did tell us that you can use those tokens for the Armor 2.0. So before, what you would do is you would get those tokens now after doing Crucible or Strikes, and you would turn them in to get gear. But now that we're coming up to Shadowkeep, people have just been banking those tokens because they want to get a jump on Armor 2.0 when it comes out, which makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so I thought you were talking about like a new thing that they added. I wasn't...
No.
Yeah,
so
these
yeah,
are like the regular old Crucible tokens and things like that.
Yeah. Just don't turn them in now. Save them because you'll get a jump on Armor 2.0 when it comes out this Tuesday.
It's pretty much the entire all the armor in Destiny 2 is going to be obsolete on Tuesday, right? Because it's going to be an entirely new system.
Yeah. So that said, you know, all the armor mods, delete all those with exception of one. Get some legendary shards from them and some bright dust from them. Speaking of that, shard everything. Pretty much shard everything.
I went in there last night and dismantled all my Eververse things because you can't get bright dust from that anymore starting Tuesday.
Yep. Everything sharded, and you can always get those back with Glimmer and shards later on. So everything that's in your inventory that's Eververse, get bright dust from it because once Tuesday comes, you won't be able to do that ever again. Shard it all.
I'm guessing next week we'll hear a lot about Shadowkeep from you.
All right.
I took off Tuesday.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna say, kids, go to school. Wife, go to work. I'm gonna wait for the servers to come back on. Hopefully, they come online. I'm gonna sit here. I'm probably gonna stream it. But yes, I will be playing Shadowkeep.
Wow, that sounds like it's going to be quite a day.
I love the fact that we're finally going back to the moon. I played a lot of the first Destiny. I loved it. Loved the moon. I loved Cosmodrome. Hopefully we get to go back to that because we did go back to that in Destiny 2 for the Thunderlord weapon. I don't know if you guys have played Destiny 2.
Aren't they adding the first mission from the original Destiny into Destiny 2 for all the new light players?
I don't know.
I could have sworn I saw something about that. If you're making a new Guardian, it'll start you off with the whole awakening sequence from the beginning of the first game.
I don't know if they're going to do that. Probably not, because all new players are getting bumped to 750 from the get-go. Everybody.
Yeah, and that helps me so much because I main a hunter, but my Titan and Warlock are so far behind, and now I can actually have other characters that I can play on without having to grind.
Yeah, because I used to play a Titan. And then I tried the Warlock, and I fell in love with the Warlock, so my Titan's just sitting there. I haven't really done anything with my Titan. And every time I go to the screen, I'm going to play with my Titan. Then I'm like, no, I don't feel like doing all this work again. So hopefully, existing players that are under 750 also get bumped up. Because if not, then I'm deleting her and bringing her back.
Yeah, that would be very nice. Because I was kind of hoping to just jump in as just a hard reset. Because I haven't played the game in months. I got it when it was free on Battle.net, and so I was like, I'll just pick it up, and so I played for a bit, and I got addicted again because I loved the first game. I was like, I'll just play Warlock again. So I'm debating whether I want to install it again just to remove all the Eververse stuff.
Well, it's going to be free. You'll get a lot more content than with just the vanilla game, and then you'll get a bunch of 750. It's like a clean slate for everybody.
Yeah,
and the armor system getting reworked. I mean, if you are on the fence about Destiny 2, come Tuesday, you have no reason to not jump in, I think.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I need to buy my Moments of Triumph shirt because I've got that.
Get enough
yeah.
for it?
And I need to buy that shirt because if I don't buy it, I won't be able to get it.
Yeah. Okay. Rob, what have you been up to this week?
So I played a little bit of the Ghost Recon Breakpoint beta, which we'll hop into.
We'll get into that later in the show.
What else have we been playing? I have subconsciously decided to play Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005. In preparation for being disappointed by Need for Speed Heat when that comes out. No, I'm sure it'll be a great game, but I have always been disappointed by every single release after Most Wanted for the most part, just because that game is fantastic. And even if you don't like racing games, it's a game that you should play because it's just like perfect for exactly what it is. It's just like this like 90s street race culture bonanza, and it's just like the voice acting and just like FMV cutscenes are absurd, and they're like the characters are hilarious, but at the same time like it has like one of the most like perfectly balanced like cop versus racer like dynamic in any of the games that from Need for Speed. It's just it's so much fun. The difficulty picks up at such a perfect pace, and like actually getting into chases is like it gets difficult the higher you get up, like to the point where it's like you have to really think about where you're going, or otherwise you will get destroyed. It's like it's so much fun, and I love it. And I hopped back in for no reason earlier this week, and I was like, I'll just do the story again because I love that game.
So Rob, let me ask you this: Need for Speed Heat comes out the same day as Death Stranding. Which are you playing first?
I think you know the answer to that. But I will probably keep it on the wish list or whatever and pick it up maybe like a week after and see what it's like. I mean, I am just wary, cautious, as I always am with a Need for Speed game coming out. So we'll see. Obviously, I'll probably be Death Stranding as soon as that comes out, but the week after, we'll see. We'll see.
Anything else other than Breakpoint and Need for Speed this week?
Let me see. I don't think so. I don't think
Slowing
I really
down the Minecraft grind.
I did play Minecraft a little bit over this weekend, even though I said I wouldn't. And so I did all right. I stopped at a relatively reasonable time, and I was like, all right, no more. So, but yes, I'm still playing that. My realm is still doing well, and I'm preparing for a fortress build at some point. So that'll be great.
I haven't been playing too many games this week, actually, myself. I mean, obviously I've been playing games because I always play games, but it's been really busy at school. But I found time to play the Medieval demo that dropped after State of Play. And I'm sorry to all you Medieval fans out there, but I stand by everything I said in the last episode. This remake feels completely and utterly pointless. I don't understand why they're remaking this game. It's not like Crash or Spyro where there's an entire trilogy that you can make. I don't think Medieval comes anywhere close to those games. It looks great. It's got kind of the same art style as Crash and Spyro do. Like the team remaking this, like they did a good job at remaking the game. It's just I have a problem with the base game itself, and you really can't improve upon that. It feels like a PS1 game and not in a good way. So I don't know if I'm gonna be playing that game when it comes out. I mean, it's only half price, so I might pick it up. But yeah, have you guys touched the demo at all?
No,
or are you planning on it?
I haven't played it. I don't plan on playing it. I'm still confused as to why they thought they should remake this game in the first place.
Kind of the same boat. Yeah, I mean, it's just functionally like a kind of like a brawler.
Yeah, like the combat isn't great, and that's really all you kind of do in this game. It's not really a collectathon, so this game feels like it should have just stayed on the PS1. I know it's a PlayStation franchise, and a lot of people hold it very dear to their hearts, but like this is not like an all-time great. There are other greats out there that need to be remade. And as far as what I said in the last podcast, yeah, that's about it with Medieval.
Since you said that real quick before you go further, if they did remake a game that is worthy of remake, what game should it have been?
Ape Escape, hands down.
Oh God, here we go.
All three of them. Where is Ape Escape, Sony? You own the IP. You're sitting on it. Those monkeys print money. Just make the games. But I'm not going to rant about Ape Escape any further. I've done this before.
You've done it plenty of times.
Yes.
I will probably do it again in the future. I just miss Ape Escape. But I've also
I was going to say Warhawk. I missed that game.
Oh man, yeah, Starhawk too.
Starhawk came out and died.
Yeah, because it came out like right before the PS3 got replaced with the PS4. It was just really bad timing, and it had an online pass. Remember those? Those were like, why? Who thought that was a great idea?
Oh, there were a lot of bad ideas throughout gaming history. They were just another one of those that just were like, yeah, let's probably not do that.
And the like transition period between the last generation and this generation was such a weird time. There were so many ideas that didn't really pan out the way companies wanted them to.
Yeah,
anyway,
well,
I've been playing the Breakpoint beta like Rob, and I know Keith, you've had a little bit of hands-on time with it, not much.
yeah, about half an hour.
I'm going to save that discussion for later because I do want to go really, really in depth on Breakpoint and just everything about that game. Other than that, I hopped into Minecraft, but I think Rob talked enough about that on the last episode. That game it holds up incredibly well. Minecon is going on. They announced a bunch of updates, like the Nether is getting its first like major overhaul since launch, which is really, really cool. The Nether, I feel like, is
there now too. Yep, you can say your spawn there.
Oh, can you really?
Yeah.
Use a bed, or like is there a new thing? Because the beds explode.
No, like world spawn, I think is you can put it there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but I feel like the Nether is the most underappreciated area of Minecraft, and there's not really any point to go there once you get like the necessary materials that you get, like blaze rods or like netherrack, the basic things. So it's cool they're adding new biomes and things like that to the Nether. So that's it for all the games I've been playing.
Pretty light this week.
Yeah, super light. I mean, there's just been a lot of news this week, but nothing really out. We're in a bit of a slump right now because we had everything from the tail end of the summer, and now we're in a weird period before like the big AAA fall releases start to come out, and they're about to start hitting like next week. So
what do you mean start? They already started. Like I said, the Surge 2, Code Vein.
Yeah, but those are like,
last week.
Those are smaller titles than like the stuff that's going to come out, like Modern Warfare, Recon, Outer Worlds, even though that's kind of small. Like Death Stranding, everything, all the big stuff. AAA, it's AAA season.
Hope you guys have a lot of vacation time stayed up because you're gonna need it.
Yeah.
I'll just skip class, man. On the real.
It's crazy how many games are coming out. It's like it was like beginning of the year. It's like here's a lot of games. Slow down. Summer was like, all right, we've got some here and there, and now it's like,
yeah, they all drop it like once too.
Mid-October,
like October 25th
everything starts.
specifically because you have Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the Outer Worlds, and then like for me, I watch BoJack Horseman on Netflix. The final season is dropping that same day, so I'm conflicted three ways. Like, what do I do?
Both at the same time.
Yeah.
And we also got the Dragon Quest. They came out for the Switch, which I'm hearing great news. I'm really thinking about picking that up now.
Yeah,
Are you talking about 11 or the first three that came out?
11. Because I played on the PC and I stopped, but it's like the Switch version, the definitive version has everything that the PC version has, plus and more. It's like
it's got all the 3DS content from Japan in it.
Yep, it's like I need to
and
probably
extra story
play this.
scenes and like new party member dialogue and stuff. Like I haven't finished Dragon Quest 11. I played it on PS4, but I'm like 30 to 40 hours in, so I'm like pretty significant time dump with that game. The music is so grating to me. Like it's on a PS4. It should have an orchestral soundtrack, not this MIDI stuff. But now the Switch is getting this definitive edition a year later. Like I don't want to pay $60 for this game and start over again.
But you will. You likely will.
I don't know. It's a really busy fall. I don't know if I'll have the time for it. Maybe if it drops on sale, like for like Black Friday or something, I might. But I'm still holding out for the PS4 to get like a $20 to $30 expansion with all the stuff in it.
I don't think that's going to happen. It'd be nice if it did, but I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah, I'm thinking about picking it up just because I've been kind of waiting for this definitive edition to come out anyway. So I'm pretty excited for it. I like Dragon Quest, probably as much as the next guy. So, well, not that much, but I like jumping in every once in a while, and I enjoy the games. Like I love playing through 8 and stuff. So I'm probably gonna hop in and just play it kind of casually, just go in and out as I'm playing other things too. But yeah.
All right, so gentlemen, what do we want to talk about first? Because there's a lot of stuff that we want to talk about this week. Or did you want to jump right into Breakpoint as starting out?
We're going to save the Breakpoint discussion for a little bit later. I want to discuss some of the new stuff that dropped this week. And we have a really long outline, more so than normally this week. Keith, I know you wanted to talk about this Nvidia broadcast engine they debuted
Oh,
at
yeah.
TwitchCon. What's all this about?
Oh yeah, so right before TwitchCon started, or maybe the first day of TwitchCon, Nvidia announced some new technology called RTX Broadcast Engine. Now, as you can imagine, the RTX means it's for their new RTX line of cards, so the 2060, 2070, 2080, both the regular vanilla cards, the Super, and Ti. So this new technology requires the tensor cores on the RTX cards. And at TwitchCon, they showed off some of this technology at OBS's booth. Now, they haven't made a formal announcement about this, but there was a user on Twitter, I forgot the name, I think Sombrero GG, posted a video of it saying, hey, this is the new technology in action. And what he did is he recorded a person in the webcam without a green screen. But when you look at the recording, it looks like there was no green screen there whatsoever. It was perfect without a green screen. Now, I know a lot of people were like, well, XSplit has this technology called VCam, and Logitech's C922 cameras also do this. But being blunt, they suck. They're not very good. They're CPU intensive. They don't do a good job. Sometimes they artifact. Sometimes the image is not how it's supposed to be. However, what they showed off at TwitchCon looked amazing. And from everything that I'm seeing so far, from what he said and a couple other people, it's very low CPU utilization because it uses the dedicated GPU. It doesn't lose track of the person, and it does a great job. Now, this is due to the AI that Nvidia is using with this new technology. We don't know when it's coming to OBS. I've already sent them like 5 emails asking, hey, when's it coming out? Hey, are you looking for beta people? I have 2 RTX cards. I would love to test it out, but I haven't got a reply back yet. Needless to say, the tech inside me, the geek inside me is geeking out about this because this is big. For those who have RTX cards, this basically means you won't need a green screen at all.
It looks, from the short clip that's available, it looks incredibly impressive.
Yes. I'm very excited about that. It does stink that it requires an RTX card, but at least you're now getting more use out of those cards because the RTX line hasn't had a great history. Nvidia brought them out. You know, the GTX 1080 Ti card was still good. The 2060 and the 2070 weren't really the best performers. The 2080 wasn't stellar, and then they were overpriced, and they came out with the supercars that were cheaper and made a lot of people who had the original cars mad. And then again, there still wasn't a lot of games that utilized RTX or ray tracing, but it's nice to see that this is an added functionality piece to those cards that if you're a streamer, if you're a content creator, you can make use of this.
Yeah. In particular, I mean, I think that it's something that they might roll out with the RTX cards and then eventually start supporting older cards. I mean,
I don't think they will. It does require the tensor cores, so what they're saying, so it won't. Now, they did say the same thing, ray tracing, but they went and enabled ray tracing on the older cards just to prove a point, because if you tried to use ray tracing on the older 1060s and 1070 to 80, they simply did not run very well. Like, you're looking at 5 to 6 frames per second. It was bad.
Yeah.
And they pretty much went, hey, see, you can't use these old cards.
It's not usable. We can, get the new cards that'll run at a playable frame rate.
Right. So, yeah, the RTX cards are in a really weird position right now. Nvidia is fighting itself because AMD's recent card was not the performer that people wanted it to be. I mean, it's a great card, the 5700 and the 5700 XT, but when you're looking at power per performance in PC gaming, Nvidia's got it hands down. So RTX cards are really a sore subject. I think more and more people are starting to embrace them because they're the only game in town. Nvidia doesn't make the older cards anymore. And funny story, since the GTX 1080 cards are no longer being made, I was able to sell my 1080 GTX Ti about a week ago. I put it up for sale on eBay, totally forgot about it, came back and it sold for like $500. I was like, wow, nice. I forgot that I was selling this card. Long story short, I ended up picking up the RTX 2080 Super because they sell for like $699. So I only had to put $200 towards it. But I had also purchased, a week before that, a Philips Hue bridge and the light because I wanted to test it out. And it sat on my desk for like 2 weeks. I'm like, it's $130 for these lights. I don't know if I want to keep this. So I was able to pick up the RTX 2080 Super for a steal because I returned the other stuff and I was like, oh, I didn't gotta pay like $50. Yeah, I win. I win.
Man,
my wife didn't kill me.
I can't wait until like ray tracing and all these new like RTX features are supported like more widespread. I think once like consoles start to adopt them, like because really only a select few games have ray tracing support, and like a lot of the support in those games isn't even that great.
Right.
But, like I've seen like Control running with ray tracing, and that game is more gorgeous than it already is with ray tracing on. And I mean, the PlayStation 5 and the next Xbox are reportedly going to support some form of ray tracing, or at least be able to do it. And I feel like because developers cater to the console audiences, they're gonna,
exactly.
Yeah.
Once consoles can do it, it'll become widespread and supported all the places.
And that's what I've been saying. I said that in the past. I said, ray tracing in PC is great. It's going to be better than anything the console can do. But the majority of gamers are on console. Until ray tracing is embraced on consoles, you're going to see games with them on PC, but not common. When you see them more on the PlayStation 5, whatever the hell they call it, and the new Xbox, then you will see them on the PC. The downside, the problem with this is both the new consoles are using AMD chipsets, and AMD is not ready for ray tracing.
Yeah, and all the other previous ones have been AMD. I think actually the Switch is the only one that has
like
an
Nvidia chip.
Tegra.
Yeah, it's a Tegra.
And it's a leftover board because they made too many boards for the Nvidia Shield. Whoops.
Ouch.
Yeah, I feel like that's why the RTX cards are so expensive. And like, I feel like if you pick one up, you have to pick it up with the fact that you're an early adopter in mind. It's the same way I view VR. Like, if you bought an Oculus Rift at launch, there's not a lot of content. The headset itself is expensive. It requires an expensive PC, and the games are going to be at a premium because you're an early adopter, and it's just natural with this kind of tech.
Not to mention that if you buy a certain headset, they might phase out ahead of time, and make you feel like crap.
In a second.
Man. All right.
Keith, I know you mentioned you were playing the Search 2 earlier.
Yes. All right. So
and
I
you wanted to do a little mini review of it before your official written review goes up on the Outerhaven.net.
Which won't be for another couple of days because there's just so much stuff I'm trying to, just put it in the writing.
But it will be there, so be on the lookout for that if you are listening.
So for those who listen to the podcast, you may or may not know that I am a big fan of the Soulsborne games and games that try to emulate that. So Dark Souls, Demon Souls, God, I wish there was a remake of that, remaster. Bloodborne, The Surge, Lords of the Fallen. God, that game was terrible. Anyway, so I loved the hell out of The Surge. I was pretty much one of the biggest advocates of the game when it first came out, when people were saying the game was crap. And eventually people started saying, hey, this game is great. Well, I finally started to play The Surge 2, and it's pretty much more the same with the first game. It's great. It's a fun game. The combat system has been tweaked. There are some changes in there that I don't like. There are a lot of changes that I do like. Like, for example, when you're fighting somebody now, in the first game, you could wear them down to the point where you can dismember them to take off an arm or leg or their head or their torso to get parts to build gear for yourself. They changed it. Now you have to wear down a particular part before you can dismember it. For example, if I'm fighting a guy and I'm banging on his head and hitting his head, and it finally says, okay, you can dismember his head. In the first game, you can go, no, I don't want to do the head. I want to do his left arm because his left arm has a piece of gear. If you change to the left arm, it goes, nope, sorry, you didn't wear that down. And if you hit the left arm, you will kill the person. It makes you rethink your strategy on how you want to gear up your character. They also added a directional block, which is actually really cool. Easiest way to explain it is basically if you hold the block button, you now can do a 360-degree block. You can block your head, you can block left or right of your arms, or you can block your legs. And there's a module that you can use that tells you, hey, the attack's coming from this direction or whatever. It's basically to help you get used to realizing where the attack's coming from. It's sort of like God, what is that game? I'm forgetting it now. The game from Ubisoft, the fighting game. Yes, it's just like that. Exactly like how they do on that system. And if you happen to block it correctly, you get the staggered person and get some extra hits in, and it does really nice animation. That's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty much the same.
This is a Souls-like, right?
Yes, very much a Souls-like.
What separates this from other games in the genre? Is it the dismemberment system and the upgrade system?
The dismemberment system, the upgrade system, and now the directional blocking.
So this is a full price game, right?
Yes, it is.
You think it's worth full price? Okay, let's. If you are a fan of Souls-like games, is it worth full price?
Yes.
If you are a regular casual gamer, is it worth full price?
No, It is not. It is
I feel
not.
like that's telling of what this game is and who it's for.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great game. They do a lot of good things, but there are just so many issues that carried over from the first game. For example, the targeting system. You can target a limb, the head, the torso for somebody, but if you're fighting them, sometimes the targeting system does some really weird stuff, and you target the leg, and somehow it ends up on the arm. And if the person turns around, you're trying to get to the left leg, and the camera is obscured, and you can't see left leg. You can't target the left leg, even though you should be able to target the leg. At the same time, if you get into a fight where there's multiple people and you're trying to target a certain position on a person, it doesn't always work. At the same time, if you're fighting certain bosses that are pretty massive, and you're trying to target a certain limb or a certain piece of the boss, it's like you're fighting the system. It's like, look, I'm trying to target this part, and it's like, okay, that's nice, but I can't let you do that, Dave. Or when you're fighting multiple people, sometimes the camera angle just goes wonky, and you're like, where am I facing? What's going on?
That also kind of sounds like Dark Souls, not gonna lie.
but From Software has it nailed down to a point. The early games had a lot of issues, but they've gotten better with it. And here, it just causes so many issues that it causes a lot of depths that could have been prevented if the camera was a little more focused. There's a lot more gear, obviously, this time around. The weapons are a lot better. The weapons have some really cool usage. Like, a lot of the weapons in this game remind me of the trick weapons from Bloodborne.
Ooh, that has
a lot of the weapons have alternative ways of attacking. Like, there's an axe that you can use, but if you charge it, it'll turn to two axes, and it'll do a couple attacks, and then it'll go right back to a single axe. There's a lot of weapons that do different functions. It's a lot faster than the first one too. It's still very clunky.
Would you say that this is a significant improvement over the first game, or is this just more of the same?
No, It's definitely an improvement over the first one. It definitely is. It's just, if you're a fan of the series, of the genre, then you'll love it. But if you're, again, a casual, you're going to look at it and go, well, this looks just like the first one. And it does. Outside of that,
the smaller improvements that you can really appreciate if you know if you're experienced with the genre.
Exactly. I mean, it's a good game. I will say that sometimes fighting, I just go into auto mode and it's like, yeah, no, blah, blah, blah. I do this, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Which is kind of frustrating for me because I love the first one so much. And I like this one too, but it's not like, oh my God, I got to play it.
Of this whole sci-fi Souls kind of thing.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. The dismemberment system is nice, but it only keeps your attention for so much. And it's like, I don't even care. And the directional block is nice and all. It's great when you're fighting bosses, but when I'm fighting regular enemies, I don't even do it because 9 times out of 10, a regular block would do just fine. Or if you dodge out of the way of the attack, because most of the attacks are telegraphed. It's like you're wasting your time.
I'm curious because you said at one point that it was faster because this is coming from somebody who kind of likes Dark Souls. I like Bloodborne and I like Sekiro a lot. You said it was faster. Is it like in comparison closer to Sekiro than it is to like Dark Souls? Or so it's more like a calculated, slower.
Is it more like a Souls to Bloodborne kind of comparison when you're talking about speed, or like? Because Bloodborne's like still kind of slow like Souls, but it's definitely faster than Dark Souls, I think.
It's faster than the first Surge, which was clunky and slower. If I had to compare it to a From Software game, I would probably say it's closer to Bloodborne. Definitely a lot closer to Bloodborne.
Okay.
Well, that's nice to hear that this game is solid. I mean, it's not going to light the world on fire, but I don't think it needs to. This is a game for a very specific audience, and I'm glad that it's
not doing
that
well.
Audience.
It's not doing well. The Weebos, the Wafus, that is Code Vein is killing it because of the character creator.
But I thought Code Vein wasn't that great.
It's gotten better.
I'm gonna be honest, the only positive press I've seen about Code Vein is the character creator. And that's not exactly, I don't go into a Souls like looking to create a character.
That's the problem. A lot of people are. I was looking at a report yesterday. I think they said on Steam they had like 22,000 people online yesterday. People are playing it, and it's doing pretty good.
Critically, it's not doing that well, though. Like, reviews aren't coming in too hot, though, I don't think. The game is a 70 on Metacritic.
Yeah, it's not that much better.
People buy anime games. Jump Force sold like crazy, and that game is awful.
And that's the problem. The anime is killing it. If you put the Surge 2 against Code Vein, the Surge 2 is a better game. But because you can make your favorite anime characters and do all sorts of weird stuff and make 2B from Nier Automata and other stuff, people are doing that. They're spending their time on the character creator, which isn't really that good.
I think a good character creator is a nice way to like. It's like a guerrilla marketing thing kind of thing, because if you make characters from other things in a character creator, people are going to share those screenshots and they're going to go viral, and people are going to. The game will be in front of a lot more people instead of if you were going to have like a basic marketing campaign for this game. I feel like Soul Calibur did a lot better than it normally would have because of its character creator. Like people were showing off their crazy custom fighters during the first week of that game, and it really piqued my interest in that game. I didn't pick it up eventually, but I don't think it would have had as much of an impact without that character creator.
Yeah, as someone who played a lot of Soul Calibur when they first implemented the character creator and stuff, like I played a lot of the online, like a majority of the online was just custom characters because like not that game's like super casual anyway, but it's just like a lot of people would just like they just prefer to create their own style. They could pick whatever, you know, character or like fighter archetype they wanted. So a lot of the time it's just like custom people anyway. So it definitely speaks to when games have a character creator that more people kind of flock to it just because, I don't know, people get more connected to something that they make rather than something that they're forced to use, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back to this too, it is a good game. Again, I think it's a better game than Code Vein, and it should be doing a lot better. But again, even though Code Vein has certain novelties that people enjoy, at the end of the day, it's still a Soulsborne type game. And those have a unique audience. They're not going to beat like The Last of Us or Gears of War 5 or Gears 5 or, you know, more popular games. They're an acquired taste. And I do enjoy it. I just wish it was a little better than what it is. It's still a good game if you like that kind of stuff.
Well, that's nice to hear. So, Oculus Connect was this week. And you
all right, this is what I'm tuning out. How about
hey, okay, well, I'm going to have to bring you back in a second for something that I'm going to get into. But you guys know that I love VR. And there were some pretty substantial announcements this week, more like bigger things than I was expecting. So the Oculus Quest launched earlier this year. At Oculus Connect, they announced Oculus. So the Quest launched alongside the Oculus Rift S, which is a revision of the original Rift, which is the one you plug into your PC and you can play cool PC VR games. And it's a VR headset like you would expect. They're the same price and they use the same tracking method and they have the same controllers. It's just if you want portability or power, that's the choice. Oculus Link lets you plug your Quest into a PC using a USB-C cable, which the Quest comes with one as a charger, and you can play PC games. The Oculus Rift S is dead in the water. It only launched a few months ago in May alongside the Quest, and people picked that up because they wanted a PC VR experience, and they traded off the portability they can get from the Quest in favor of this more powerful desktop experience. But now you can get both with the Quest, which makes the Rift S completely obsolete. The only difference is like the Rift S is like a slightly higher refresh rate, and it's only like 8 hertz higher, so it's not that big of a deal. This is crazy.
Wait, I thought you had to buy the cable.
No. It's the Oculus Link is like a software.
Oh, okay.
You just use a USB-C cable to connect the headset itself to the PC.
I to be honest with you, I blew all that off because I got pissed off because it's because
Keith, you picked up an Oculus Rift S instead of a Quest earlier this year, didn't you?
This is like
still sitting in that box, isn't it?
Now I have no reason to take it out of the box.
Sell it. I'm telling you right now to sell that thing before Oculus Link drops.
You can put it on eBay, be like, here you go. I would love to take it back to Best Buy. Like, hey, you know, I never opened this thing. You know, it's just sitting there.
You just sell it brand new sealed Rift S. Just get rid of it, please.
I can't believe that they would do that to and. You know, I know you're going to keep talking about it, but I went on Twitter and still had a bunch of other people and were like, hey, Facebook, hey, Oculus, what's going on with the Rift S?
They didn't mention the Rift S at all at OC6.
Nope. Not once. Not
once. That thing's done. It's dead. Obsolete within a few months.
It's so weird.
It hasn't even been a year.
They just straight up drop it. Like
another thing is like I mentioned they both use the same tracking solution. They have cameras embedded on the headset that can see the controllers in front of you and orient yourself in a space. The Oculus Quest is getting hand tracking next year. So you ditch the wires if you get a Quest, and you can ditch the controllers. It's just the headset.
Peripheral. Yeah.
But the thing is, the Rift S has the same cameras that track. It should get the same technology, theoretically. They didn't mention it coming to the Rift S. It's only the Quest.
Yep.
So this thing's double dead in the water.
Yeah, as a consumer, as somebody who wanted to get into VR, and a consumer who bought the Rift S, I feel so frustrated right now.
I'd be so mad. I mean, the only reason I still have my original Rift is because the Quest couldn't do like PC stuff, but now I'm going to sell my Rift. There's no reason to have one.
Have they even like remotely made a statement about this?
They said nothing. They said
nothing at all. They're radio silent.
That's so weird.
I also think it's a testament to how well the Quest is doing because this thing blew up in ways I did not think it would. I was excited as a VR enthusiast because it's wireless VR and I can take it with me wherever I go. mainstream people are loving their quests.
I'm just curious if people are going to do. I know this is probably a long stretch, but I'm wondering if people are going to do a class action lawsuit. Like, look, you
I
made
would
us.
not be surprised.
You said this was going to be supported, and then you pretty much killed it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could certainly get to that point. That wouldn't be surprising at all.
The Rift S is still going to be a more premium experience when you're playing PC games compared to the Quest, but I think the trade-off of being able to unplug and untether from that PC is more than worth the trade-off.
That's the thing for me, is that I've always held out on VR because of that reason, because of the wires and everything like that. So I think it being a more premium experience may not even influence people to get it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, at
because
this
the
point
Quest is
now,
still
it's
premium. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, I have only used my Rift maybe once since I got the Quest, and I used to use the Rift like weekly.
Yeah.
My PSVR, I don't even want to plug that in because you got to use the move controllers and the PlayStation camera.
Oh,
and it's a hassle. The Quest, I just put it on and I'm playing Beat Saber. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that makes me want to actually like try VR now. I mean, I've tried.
Well, you definitely
before,
should.
but, like,
VR has
get
come
it
a
for
long
myself,
way,
yeah.
but this situation right now, it's a bad look. And as we said before, they haven't said anything, and everybody's just getting up in arms about this. If you go to the Oculus Rift subreddit, everybody's like, "So
everyone's mad." Yeah,
it's like I just bought this thing like a month ago, and now you're telling me that it's dead, and I can't do anything, and they're not saying anything, and it's like, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And to your point,
because like they've announced so many Oculus Rift exclusives, like Asgard's Wrath and Stormland, which are coming out in the next few months. But now they're calling it the Rift family or the Rift platform, meaning like they were always very, very.
Yeah.
They wouldn't outright deny you could play it on your Quest when people asked if it was coming to Quest, but they were like, it's on the Rift only for now. But like you can play Rift games on your Quest now.
And like you were saying, even though the Rift S does offer a premium experience, the whole portability thing trumps it.
Some VR enthusiasts are going to get angry at what I'm about to say, but I feel like there is literally zero reason to buy any other VR headset on the market, including the Valve Index. Because I feel like, look,
too early for the Index.
The Valve Index is $1,000 and it's a premium experience. But I feel
that
like
is an enthusiast headset.
That is an enthusiast headset, but I feel like the Quest for $400 and it's portable and wireless. Why would you buy an Index? Unless you want the Knuckles controllers, which I feel like that is the only reason. But the Quest is getting hand tracking in a free update. There's no reason to buy anything other than the Quest, I think. And Facebook Horizons is coming, which I don't know how I feel about that being attached to Facebook, but it's the Oasis from Ready Player One. It is literally that. You can create any space you want. And there are games out there right now that do that, like Rec Room and VR Chat, but this is like premium. This is AAA, and this is going to be available on every Quest, every Rift, probably every VR device if you can run Revive or something that lets you access the Oculus Store. But this is within the first few months of the Quest coming out. We have these heavy-hitting announcements happening. It's insane. Anyway, buy a Quest. That's my whole point. Buy an Oculus
And then
Quest.
I'm like, Stormland's gonna look so good. You know, you tell me to buy it get a Quest, and it's like, but I was looking for this premium experience. And
the thing is, like some Oculus exclusives, like there's one coming out later this year. I forget the name, but you're like a military stealth guy in a canoe the whole time. That's gonna be on Quest as well.
What was that? We were just talking about that not too long ago.
I forget the name.
Oh yeah, what is it called?
God,
but like that's gonna be on Quest anyway. So I was gonna combine on Quest, but stuff like Stormland and Asgard's Wrath and now Medal of Honor that Respawn's making, I'm like, oh, I have to plug in the Rift for that. No, I don't. I just got to plug in my Quest to my PC.
Yeah.
With one cable. It's that simple. You can just buy a longer cable if you don't like the tether. Like it's crazy how modular this thing is. All in one day, the Quest became twice as useful.
Yep.
It's
and the Rift Dash just went until they say something. And the thing that's really upsetting me, and again, everybody else, is the fact that they're just so radio silent right now. They're not saying anything. At the very least, they can come out and say, you know what? It's not getting finger tracking. Yes, we're not going to support this anymore. Something, but they're saying
unless they come out with
nothing.
Like their own Knuckles controller that only works with the Rift S, I don't see any reason to get a Rift S. But the crazy thing is, like, the only argument I can see against this is like, oh, if you want the Rift version, you have to buy the Rift version, and if you want to play it on your Quest, you have to be tethered and play it as a Rift. But most first-party games are cross-buy, so you get them on both. So there's no drawback to doing any of this.
Yeah, there is none. There literally is no reason.
I think you're hurting yourself if you buy anything else. The Vive's not even a question anymore. Like, what are you doing? Vive Cosmos is still wired. Like, what? Why? Why would you do this? Get wireless VR. You'll hear back from me whenever Asgard's Wrath comes out or something cool comes out.
I just want to play Stormlands.
Oh man, Stormland's gonna be so great. Oculus Connect wasn't the only press conference we had this week. State of Play happened on Tuesday, and we got some pretty.
Whoa! Before you go, State of Play, I want to back out real quick. I still want to talk about VR. You totally skipped over the Medal of Honor coming to VR. It's a brand new game.
Oh yeah, the first VR AAA FPS ever, but made
Yes.
by Respawn, and it's Medal of Honor, and it has a full 10 to 12 hour campaign and a full multiplayer suite.
Have you watched the videos? I've watched Test It and
Uh-huh.
somebody else, and it looks like, oh my god, yes. This
Hey,
could
actually,
be
I
the
don't know how I feel
VR
about
shooter. No, you don't.
Because like the more I read about it, it's like they have like 50 levels, but they're like smaller like experience levels, and the difficulty didn't sound too hard, and didn't sound very challenging. Alongside the campaign, I don't know if it can be competitive.
Oh no,
I
don't
know
do
if-
that.
I don't know if the gameplay itself is going to be able to carry the experience. I some of the single player stuff they showed looks cool, like putting the record on to coordinate that attack with music, or like climbing a cliff face, like Modern Warfare 2 cliffhanger mission. That looked cool, but I don't know if the gameplay itself stand on its own. Which it's weird that I'm saying that because Respawn is making it, and I trust them. But outside of an experience, I don't know if this is going to be like a good enough game. You know what I'm saying? Which sounds
Did
bad.
you check out? Did you watch the video from Test It?
Yeah, I saw it. The
Aw.
gameplay, it looks. The problem is there are other VR shooters that I've played. Like,
Yeah,
this
you
is
played
for
quite a
gonna-
few.
This is gonna be the highest quality one, I think, with the highest production values. It's just the problem with a lot of the Rift first party titles that I've seen. They are very, very shallow in terms of depth because they want people to buy a Rift and for the first time and have never touched VR and play these games and be able to have fun with them. Like the AI that I've seen, they just kind of stand there. And I don't know how I feel about that. I want these intense, challenging VR experiences. I don't want like shooting galleries, if that makes any sense.
No,
'Cause
that
I've
makes a
seen
lot of
so
sense.
many of them. But I trust Respawn. I'm sure they'll have harder difficulties. Multiplayer in VR, like Dead and Buried, is a game on Rift that does not get enough attention. It's like a Western multiplayer shooter kind of thing. Dead and Buried 2 is a lot like Quake. No one plays it though, which is sad. Competitive FPSs can work in VR. It's just you have to make some trade-offs, and I don't know if they're willing to do that if they're trying to make this like an entry point for VR.
Yeah, especially if it's like if you're coming from like playing shooters on a console or PC or whatever, like you're so used to how they may play like a Modern Warfare or Battlefield or whatever, and then all of a sudden if you come to like a VR shooter just in general, and if it just feels like even slightly scaled back, you're gonna be like, well, not
Well, it's scaled back
necessarily
because
disappointed,
I'm gonna point to probably my favorite VR FPS of all time, Firewall 0 Hour on PlayStation VR. That game is obviously more scaled back than something like, say, Modern Warfare, but the way that VR enhances that experience so much, like if you throw if you get flashbanged in that game, you're done. Like it is, you cannot see. Like in Modern Warfare, it'll run off in like a second, and you can like kind of see through your vision, but you are blinded. Or like smoke grenades are an actual threat. You can blind fire around corners just by holding your gun around the corner.
yeah,
And the stuff they're doing with Medal of Honor, like you can pull the pin on a grenade with your teeth. Like that's cool. It's going to open so many more like possibilities and avenues.
yeah,
Like if you play Pavlov, you can sneak. It's like VR Counter-Strike if you're unfamiliar with that game. You
Okay.
can sneak up behind somebody and pull the magazine out of their gun so they can't shoot you. Like you
Right.
can do cool things in VR. It's just I don't know if they're willing to allow for that many variables in that game if it's supposed to be an exclusive to sell this platform for a casual audience.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they could definitely bring in like some of those like different features and stuff that's keep them apart from like standard shooters and stuff. I just it's hard to tell. I mean, I'm coming from an outside experience perspective, so I'm not too familiar with VR shooters just at all.
I've been burned by so many VR games that I'm like there's a Marvel. It's called Marvel Power United VR, and it's an Oculus Rift exclusive, and it's selling you on this fantasy where you can play as any Marvel hero, and like if you pick the Hulk, your camera's going to be way, way up high and you're taller than everybody else and you can play it in multiplayer. And I was so excited. But because that's supposed to be, it was bundled with the Rift, like they want casual players to play it. Like I picked up Spider-Man, you can't even swing. It's so basic. He plays just like everybody else. And those are the kind of considerations that have to be made whenever you're designing a game around people who are not used to VR.
Yeah.
It's VR still in its infancy, and we obviously have to go through these things to get people adapted to VR. But like now that I have my VR legs and I'm like so experienced with VR, and I like to play more experimental things
Yeah.
that really push the boundaries. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this.
Yeah. Well, I think now at the point, I mean, just going back to what we were just talking about earlier, I mean, now that we're actually getting to the point where VR is truly becoming like the movie experience, like what people are used to, like, oh, they just put on a headset and then they can run around a room and it's all of a sudden this brand new world, that kind of thing. I mean, we're kind of getting to that. I don't think we'll ever get that far, but we're getting to that kind of area where it's like things are finally becoming less cumbersome. It's not like you have to set up a whole room specifically for your VR. You don't have to, set up like camera posts and things like that anymore. It's getting to the point now where it's more accessible, like functionally. So then more people are over time going to want to hop into it more and are considering it. So I think over time there's going to be more support for it, and we're going to get just better AAA experiences in general.
Yeah, and of course we're barely reaching that point. No disrespect to any previous Oculus exclusives like Rebel Recall, but the first AAA VR exclusives that are supposed to sell systems are not coming out. They're coming out this fall for the first time. Asgard's Wrath is going to be a story-focused Norse mythology adventure where you can switch between a warrior on the floor and then like a giant godlike creature at will. Stormland is an Insomniac open world game. Like that should be enough to sell you on that game. And now we have a Medal of Honor game coming with a full campaign and multiplayer next year.
Not to mention another great benefit to VR games that something a lot of people overlook is the fact that you actually have to interact with these games. You are getting exercise as you play these games.
Yeah, and of course some games are more intensive of workouts than others, but yeah, I mean, I think the physicality of VR is really what sells these experiences.
Oh yeah.
And VR is getting adopted way faster than I thought because it's very hard to sell these experiences without having somebody in the headset. If you show VR gameplay on a 2D device, it looks kind of janky. But if you're in that headset, you're there.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Sega and Bandai Namco to remake their light gun games in VR. Give me a House of Dead in VR.
Oh, speaking of Sega, Keith, I don't know if I ever told you about this, but the Sega Genesis Classics collection on like PC and PS4 and all the consoles has VR support.
You mentioned that before.
Yeah, it puts you in like a cool 90s bedroom. You sit on the floor and you put the cartridges in and you can just play on a CRT. I think that's really cool. Thought I'd mention that.
If I ever take out the Rift S, now that it's obsolete,
I think a Rift S is still worth having just because it's a nice headset. It is a quality experience.
Well, if you're thinking about picking up one today, if somebody's going to pick one up today, would you buy it?
No.
Yeah, I was going to say, based on what both of you have said at this point, it doesn't sound like it's worth it at all.
Yeah, I think if you have one, you should just get rid of it. Like, I'm sorry, just sell it. It's only a few months down the line. We're already reaching this point where the Quest is overtaking it.
Yeah. It's only going to get better.
Thanks, Facebook. Thanks for that.
Well, that was a lot of VR talk. So let's move on to State of Play, because that happened this week. We got some pretty substantial announcements, I think, and some smaller things that nobody was really expecting. So Last of Us Part 2 happened, obviously, but I want to save that till the end of this bit because I want to give focus to some of the other smaller things that were shown off. You guys have any highlights from this show? Personal highlights?
I just thought it was weird the first game that they
Humankind.
teased,
I wanted to talk about that.
That was the opener.
What is this? Well, because that was what they showed whenever they announced State of Play, and I thought it was just a cute little graphic for the announcement. But no, that was a game.
Yeah, I thought they were just doing that, like just as like an art thing. But I was like, oh, okay, that was actually a game. I have no idea what you do. It seems like it's probably going to be as vague as like everything. Like,
I love that game too. Yeah, that game.
So
yeah, this looks like a high concept like art piece game, and I love those kind of things.
Yeah.
Keith, have any thoughts on Humankind?
No, I was looking at it and I was like, well,
yeah, what is this?
This was a really interesting game to start with, and then I went, what the hell is this? And then I just basically went, okay, whatever, it's something. Okay, let's go with it. I didn't really care too much for that. No, not at all. I thought it was really weird.
So Medieval got a demo, obviously announced during State of Play, but we talked about that earlier. Watam got a release date. I feel like I'm the only one that's excited about this.
No. I am a big fan.
Oh, are you? Thank you,
yes.
somebody. Finally. This is the next game from the guy who made Katamari.
I was like, I'm getting Katamari vibe from this. The music, the presentation, everything.
Well, because they showed this a few years ago, and it's been in development hell for like ever, but now it has a release date, and it's only a few months out.
Yeah, I can't wait for this.
I still don't know what you do in this game. I think you make friends with just inanimate objects, which that sounds right up my alley. This game's going to be awesome, I think. No one's giving it any attention.
I would have rather had another Katamari. But I'll take this.
I feel like it's been done to death. I want him to be able to do new things, and this looks awesome.
No, keep doing the same thing.
The same game every year. $60. Microtransactions.
Annualized.
No. Are you referring to the game on iOS and Android?
Rob, do you have any thoughts on what's on?
All right, nobody get shocked when I say this, but I never played Katamari Damacy at all.
That's fine.
Whoa. Hey,
No. That was a niche game.
It's not a
Very
dig
niche.
at it.
I know, but there's been a few. You never played any Katamari games?
Nope, not one.
Dude, you should like remedy that.
You should go listen to the
Yeah.
music, if anything. Just go listen to the
Well,
music.
I'm aware of like the music and how kooky it is, and it looks
It's
great,
we
but
all have
just-
gaming blind spots, but
I
probably try one of those games out. It's on Switch and PC.
Yeah, I've just never tried it before. I probably will. but-
Yeah, those are interesting games. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're finally getting this game. Anything else from State of Play you guys want to touch on before we go to Last of Us? Because that's going to be a conversation, I think.
You go first.
Kind
You
of
go
a
first.
short show, right? Like not much happened.
Yeah, it was about 20 minutes. I mean, the only other thing was like the Modern Warfare story. That was like the
Can we talk
main
about that?
other thing.
That looked
Yeah.
awesome.
It does look good.
There were like cutscenes and characters.
Do you want me to talk about Modern Warfare? Do you really want me to?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm pissed. How's that?
Oh, this is about the survival mode.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
A whole year.
an entire year.
The next COD will be out.
This is the exact same crap that Activision pulled off with Bungie that we didn't get Destiny content for the Xbox because they wanted to keep it on the PlayStation. And this is exactly why
Yeah.
Bungie was like, you know what? We are out of here. You're keeping, and even though you can argue with me and say it's just one little slice of the game.
It's a significant
No.
mode.
You're
Yeah.
making me pay $60 for this game that everybody's paying $60 for this game on the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. But they get the full game and we get something that's missing something. No, that is not cool. And
Yeah.
the time that gets out to us,
The next
a
COD
new call will be out.
It's obsolete by then.
They did the same
Yeah.
stuff to Destiny 2. We're finally getting PlayStation 4 Destiny 2 content as Shadowkeep is coming out.
But that's just Destiny 2 stuff is just like a few armor sets and like an exotic or two, right?
But for those who were collecting that stuff, they couldn't get it.
Yeah, but I feel like survival being only on
This
PS4
is worse.
for a
Yeah,
whole
this
year
is
is
terrible.
much, much worse. I feel like
This
if it was
is
just
crap.
survival
Yeah.
maps, that would be fine. I'm glad that Xbox and PC players get multiplayer maps day and date now. I feel like that's a little more significant, but like
Yeah.
the whole survival mode being locked to one platform
And they're trying to
for a
downplay it. And they're
year?
going, it's not a big deal. I'd rather get 90% of something than 100. Or
I feel so
then-
sorry for the
I'm like,
developers.
that's terrible. Like,
They
no,
are
that is
getting
terrible.
So much hate right
Yeah,
now, and
and
it's
they
a
literally
it's
had
a
to say
publisher
it was
decision.
above their head. Oh, I felt so bad. It's
Because coming off of
insane.
that, the everyone's impressions of that beta were so glowing. Everyone loved this game, I feel.
Mhm.
And then this news hit.
Yeah.
It won't stop the sell of the game. Look
Oh, it
at
won't.
Borderlands 3.
Yeah. No,
it won't
at
stop
all.
It
There'll be a lot of
Pay
people that are
for,
complaining about it.
People buy it.
Yeah, this is the
I
price
mean-
you pay for crossplay for everybody. Is they have to take that one mode away from everybody else.
No,
Yes.
it's not even crossplay. It's Activision
know.
being Activision.
Yeah.
They can't help but not be asses. And I'm sorry, that's just wrong to the consumers. That's a slap in the face. And it's a slap in the face to the developers, too. They didn't ask for this.
Yeah, and it's gonna taint their game now.
Yep.
People are gonna. Oh man, it's just an unfortunate situation, and I hate talking about stuff like this. It makes me frustrated because these developers pour their heart and souls into these games, but then the publishers are like, yeah, let's just only make part of it on one platform, and then people get really mad at them, and it's really not their fault. It's a publisher thing.
Yeah.
The
Money.
whole situation just sucks.
Money talks.
Yeah, man. AAA game development.
The
The story
Space
trailer.
Channel. Wait, but you guys didn't talk about the best game
Oh,
out
Space
of
Channel 5 VR.
Space Channel 5. Come on.
That PlayStation VR highlight reel was pretty weak in my opinion.
Yeah, it was. But when I saw Space Channel 5, I was like, wait, what? Space Channel 5.
I feel like that's a good game for VR. I feel like that's suited for it.
Are you
Yeah.
excited for LA Noir VR?
Oh,
Again?
I thought they were again. I thought they were gonna make expand it onto a full game and not just
Yeah.
like the 3 or 4 cases, but now it's just a port.
Yeah, I literally I heard the music and I was like, oh, are they actually doing more? Like, because it was going on for a long time. I was like, this is a long trailer for something that's been released.
It's just a port,
multiple
of
times
like
already.
a 2-year-old game.
Yeah,
It's a great the 4 cases that are in LA Noire VR are awesome, and that
Oh,
game
yeah.
is really cool in VR. But man, just a port, really?
yeah.
Make the full game. Come on, do it, you cowards. But man, that Modern Warfare story trailer. I mean, the fact that they have ex Naughty Dog people working at Infinity Ward for the story shows. I think. I feel like Captain Price showed a lot of character in this trailer.
Yeah, the characters
And-
actually like interacting with each other.
Yeah,
Like,
they do things that aren't just shooting people.
yeah,
And
Or
some gameplay is like
commanding.
surface from like the campaign missions, and there's one mission I want to highlight. It's called Townhouse, and you go up a really, really like, it's a multiple story townhouse, but like it's really cramped and it's night vision, and like you and your squad barely fit on the staircase, and it looks awesome. And I can't wait to get my hands on this game.
Yeah.
Single player has really surprised me this time around.
Mm-hmm. And I love the single player from like the old Call of Duty games, and like the original Modern Warfare had a wonderful campaign. Like that
whole trilogy is awesome.
Yeah, it's so much fun, and I'm glad now that it's actually like coming back as like a substantial mode. Yeah. Like they're actually putting time into creating a narrative that's enjoyable.
It's just like seeing the scenes they chose to show in that trailer, where they chose to not show traditional Call of Duty stuff of like war zones and fighting and combat. It was Captain Price and all the other characters talking, having conversations and interacting, and that was something that never really happens in Call of Duty.
Yeah, which is to its benefit too, because I mean they've kind of said before that they want this to be like the effect of war on people, like it's gonna be gritty and yada yada. But like
that one scene when Price like walks down that alleyway and like raises his hands and people have him at gunpoint, that was so cool.
It's not something you expect from Call of Duty at all. Like that's not a scene you would have ever thought would be in a game.
That they are going to tell, and that excites me.
Yeah. It's good. I'm excited for it, and I mean I'm glad because I love playing Call of Duty campaign. At least just based off of the older games. So this excites me a lot. I'm glad.
Yeah. I'm just glad that they learned their lessons from last year and are giving us a single player content. Because I didn't really play much of Call of Duty Black Ops. I was like, yeah, this is boring now.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but they killed it with post-launch monetization and loot boxes and pay-to-win guns, and that's probably going to happen in Modern Warfare. So get in there on that launch month before they add them in, and there you go. That's Modern Warfare.
Yeah, they did also mention that they're going to do more than just like
they're gonna put guns in the loot boxes, and it's going to ruin the game.
Well, granted, I think they're all balanced pretty well, at least from beta
there are
impressions.
Some pay-to-win guns in Black Ops 4, and I do not put it past them to put pay-to-win guns in Modern Warfare.
Yeah,
it's Activision. You know it's going to be there. Come on now.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be in there. Unfortunately. All right, we delayed it long enough. Let's talk about it.
The Last of Us Part 2 comes out in February. Where are we at on this game, guys?
I'm not going to work for the entire week.
You
guys will not see me.
Can we talk about how like open those levels looked? This game's going to be on 2 discs, guys. It's a linear game. Red Dead 2 is on 2 discs.
It's going to be on 2 discs. You know it's going to be on 1 download. So have fun with that. Yeah. And not buying this on disc.
They've said it's going to be their biggest game ever, like in terms of scope. And that excites me because the open world part of Lost Legacy, Uncharted, had me engaged for a long time, and more so than I thought it would. And I really hope that they have really wide open chapters where you're going to and from places and back and forth and you're picking up objectives. I think that'd be really cool. I feel like The Last of Us is a game about traveling and journeys. So I feel like getting to experience going from one place to another without cutscenes would be really, really cool. Plus Ellie, man. I love that character so much, and
I just want to get into the action. The action that we saw. I just want to get into the world and I hate saying it because it sounds so wrong, but I just want to get in there and start killing people.
Yeah, me too, because it looks this is going to sound equally as messed up, but it looks like they die in really cool ways. Like The Last of Us Part 1 had some brutal executions. Like you can kill people with bricks in that game. Yeah. This looks insane. Yeah.
It looks so like incredibly visceral and stuff, and I like the combat from the first one, obviously, and it just looks more of that, and just as like visceral, like vulnerable, and just like every moment counts. You have to be very careful, especially if you played like The Last of Us on the harder difficulties, which I enjoyed a lot, because a lot of the scenarios in the first game are really intense. Like the hallways and stuff are really well built, and you have to really think about what you're gonna do, especially with like resource management. So if they bring more of that into this next game, I'm gonna be super excited because
I have to go back and play the first one again. I played the first one when it first came out, and I did nothing but play that game, and then I got sad when it was over, and then a couple years later, Remastered came out, and I bought it. But you know where this is going.
That game is better in every single way.
I never played it because I was like, I already played this game. I'm not going to play it again. But now I really want to play it again.
It looks like a PlayStation 4 game, not a PS3 game. That's how well that game holds up.
Yeah. No, playing in like 60 FPS.
Oh man, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I love that. I mean, I love how quiet the combat encounters are in the first game, because it's something they did in Uncharted 4 as well. Like enemies can lose track of you, so I feel like it's like hide and seek style fights where like. Joel will take a few shots, and then he'll like crouch behind something, and he'll wait for enemies to lose sight of you, and they'll be like, "Where is he?" And they're walking around. There's like no music, which I really like.
Yes,
it's tense.
I was gonna mention like the lack of score in like the entirety of The Last of Us, like almost every scenario that you're in, where it's the way
silence.
the gameplay is, it's so tense because of that reason. There's
Yeah.
nothing like kind of like
Like a gunshot
driving you
has
forward.
impact. Like whenever you shoot a gun, it's loud and it's meaningful.
You know what I need to find out? I need to ask. I'm going to ask them on Twitter. I wonder if The Last of Us 2 is going to support Atmos.
It's been mostly an Xbox One push this generation, hasn't it?
Yeah, you know, but the PlayStation 4 does support that, and I think Battlefield.
The first one, they have like headset profiles for it where you can really go in and customize the audio and things like that. I feel like Naughty Dog, of any developer, would have Atmos support.
I mean,
or,
it's
like, any
not
kind of
necessary. I mean, you still have Dolby Digital, but if it has Atmos support, oh my god, you know how good that would sound? How amazing that would sound?
This game it looks unbelievable. Like when I first played Red Dead Redemption 2, I was like, no game is going to top this for a while technically, but man, the more I see of this game, I don't know if I'm more excited for the story or the gameplay, and it's the story. It's the story. But that gameplay looks awesome though. Like Naughty Dog gameplay is great, I feel, like thematically. It might not be the most responsive, or like it's no Titanfall, but
yeah.
I feel like it really the combat puts you in that world in ways that other games don't.
I just want to see who dies.
This game's gonna be nuts, man.
This trailer has got me like, is it Joel who dies? Is it?
Yeah, that was off camera. They're trying to mislead us, I think.
Yeah, it's like, is it the girl who dies? Who dies? Somebody dies.
Yeah. Although
one thing I want to touch on real fast before we move on from Last of Us is there's not going to be any multiplayer.
Good.
I don't know about that because did you play Factions in Last of Us?
I had no interest in it.
Factions is one of the most unique multiplayer modes I have ever played, and I do not want it to go away.
Yeah, but I don't want it to be another Uncharted multiplayer as well.
It wasn't like Uncharted multiplayer.
It was
though,
so different. It was unique. It had there was limited lives. Like you had to really work with your squad. It had this really cool thing where you could link with your Facebook and populate your camp with your friends. The whole point of Factions is like it has a story to it. You pick either the Fireflies or the what's the other faction in that game? They had a name for them. It was just like the bandits out there, but they had a name for them. Anyway, you would pick that camp and you have to survive 7 weeks, and like every 7 days is like a week, and you would have to get supplies from kills and pick up supplies off of fallen enemies. Otherwise, people in your camp would get sick and die, and you would have to make it through that period of time. And I think that it's really cool that the narrative is like the multiplayer is narratively justified. I love multiplayer modes like that, where it's not just this is a deathmatch with nothing behind it. This is a part of this world still, even though it's just a deathmatch going on in some part of this world. It is The Last of Us still, and I think that's really important. Luckily, the people who have worked on the multiplayer from the original Last of Us have said that like they still have ideas they want to do, and I think that's going to result in like a standalone Factions kind of thing, maybe free to play.
Yeah.
But I especially with like the stuff they've shown gameplay wise in The Last of Us Part 2, like being able to go prone, being able to jump, things like that. I want multiplayer with that. And now that Last of Us is free with PlayStation Plus for the month of October, I really hope the Factions servers get a little more populated, because I know I'm going to hop back in. I just think more people should play Last of Us multiplayer, because everybody always talks about the story and the campaign and those characters, but man, that multiplayer was impeccable.
Yeah, it was really fun. I mean, I played it for a little bit just on the remastered portion of it, and I still enjoyed it a lot. I was like, this is really fun. It's great.
On one hand, I'm glad they're focusing all their resources on single player. A 2-disc linear single player campaign that's substantial, I think. But man, another part of me is sad to see Factions gone. But I feel like in the Last of Us 2 Part 2 remastered on PlayStation 5 or whatever they do, next gen we will see Factions again.
So, question for you. Have you guys pre-ordered the game yet then?
Oh yeah, I have the collector's edition on pre-order.
Yep, same here.
I almost got the Ellie edition, but I don't think I would get much use out of that backpack.
Yeah, I don't think there was an option at the time that I did it, because I tried to go to Amazon and it was like, yeah, we're sold out. So I got it from Best Buy. Of course, Best Buy charged you right away, but it's fine. There was also that statue that I'm looking at. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's its own thing though, right? You can buy that separately.
Nope, they're all sold out. They're completely sold out.
I'm not surprised after that showing. They're gone.
I went to go to the site and it was like, nope, it's gone. I was like, oh, okay.
I bet that was limited though. I think that was an Outbreak Day item.
Probably was.
Yeah.
Probably was.
Yeah.
Man, that game is going to be nuts when it drops in February.
I just hope that...
Can we talk about how stacked Spring is?
I just hope the PlayStation 4 is up to the task of running this damn game.
I think the Pro will. I think it'll struggle on base. Even though they say they're optimizing it for the base PS4, Everyone says that, and they always struggle.
It's going to be 30 FPS.
Don't say that.
Quote
This game
unquote.
deserves more than that.
Well, you'll get to play it in 60 FPS on PlayStation 5 when the eventual remaster drops.
Don't say that. Don't give them
Or the
ideas.
PlayStation 5 performance patch, because they're doing backwards compatibility. Dude, you're nuts if you don't think we're going to see this game on PS5.
Oh no,
Death Stranding 2. That's on PS5. I'm going to buy it again. But moving on from The Last of Us.
Can we actually even do that? I mean,
What?
they ended with Last of Us 2. Can we move on from that?
Well,
What else do we have to talk about?
There's another game we have to discuss before we close the show.
Oh, what's that?
Something not as great as The Last of Us, but I still feel is pretty good. We've all had some time with Ghost Recon Breakpoint, haven't we?
Well,
You've had a little bit of time, Keith. You are a little bit.
Yeah.
familiar with
I
this
got
game.
shot down. I killed a couple guys. I saw a bunch of overpowered people. I tried to kill the people they sent after me, and then my PC went, "You're not playing anymore."
That's
so you
pretty
did
much the
half
Breakpoint
tutorial.
experience. Yeah. Rob, how much time have you put in this game?
It was like, I want to say about 4 or 5 hours, because I only played that one day.
Did you play through to the end of the beta missions?
I didn't quite make it because I actually just enjoyed running around, which was something I wasn't really ready for. Because Wildlands, I didn't really like. Just
me neither.
Kind of running around was what I expected the game was going to be about. Because I mean, that game didn't even really focus on the story, other than that first like intro cinematic where they.
There pretty much was
to...
no story in Wildlands.
Yeah, they tried to build up this guy that just nobody cared about. Anyway, but yeah, actually in this game, and I will touch on story in a minute because that I actually feel is much improved. But I just wanted to run around because this is the type of the game where the story is, no matter how good it is always gonna kind of be a back burner anyway, because you're just gonna want to run around and do things. So that's basically what I did. And so I kind of finished the tutorial, got to the hub and everything, picked up some new gear or whatever, and then I just kind of ran around and did stuff and did some of the side missions and whatever, and it was actually a lot of fun. I got a lot of like Just Cause vibes from it, more so than I did from Wildlands, just because it like feels like functionally better in a lot of ways. You can actually kind of traverse a lot easier. You don't kind of get hung up on the scenery a lot or any of the environment. I enjoyed just kind of running around and just taking out random folks, and I like the higher level enemies actually present like a solid challenge. Like you can't just like cheese them out or anything like that. They're gonna outflank you. They're gonna think. They're gonna try and get you to the point where you struggle and you actually want to run away and kind of regroup and everything.
So what difficulty are you playing on? Because I feel like that's an important question for this kind of game.
I believe I started on standard, and then I think I moved up to the one that's like slightly above that. Yeah.
I feel like if you're going to play Ghost Recon Breakpoint, advanced is a must because this game's a joke on regular.
Yeah.
All the tactical Ghost Recon stuff goes out the window on regular, which, I mean, if you want to like have an easier experience, more power to you. But like if you want that, I'm out here, I'm outnumbered, I'm alone, and I have to outthink my enemies and outsmart them, you want to play on advanced.
Yeah. Yeah, so I did that at some point. I remember I bumped it up a bit, and I mean that's perfectly fine because like if you bring it back down to experience the story, it makes sense because in this game there's actually like a tangible villain, and there
are characters that say things to each other.
Yeah, and it is actually like you feel like you want to progress the story at least in some way because it's not just like they say here's a bad guy. But then there's also places that you can just take. And so, like, that was all of Wildlands. It's just like, you go find a place and take it.
All of Wildlands, you're trying to take down a bad guy you'd never seen until the very end, pretty much.
It was just like worse Far Cry.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, at least in this game, like, it actually feels like there's a villain and there's like objectives that you want to complete that actually progress towards trying to get after, John Bernthal's character, which I think he plays really well. I'm really excited for it.
The performance is so great, isn't it?
Yeah. Just because he actually feels like scary. It's not just like some tattooed archetype that I keep crapping on Wildlands, but
Wildlands is pretty much just stereotype the video game.
Yeah,
that is the most like bog standard AAA video game I think I've ever played.
And granted, you still play as a big gruff grunt man who
it's the same guy from Wildlands, and your squad is there. I mean, like some of them get injured, some of them get killed off very, very early, but it's still that squad.
Yeah.
Not that they have very much character to begin with, but
yeah, not particularly.
Yeah, I'm really liking my time at Breakpoint. I think I'm the opposite way. I mean, I enjoy running around, but my main problem with Wildlands is I didn't feel it was very focused. I feel like it just dropped into a absolutely massive world and was like, take down this cartel in any way you see fit, which is an interesting idea on paper, but I feel like the gameplay got very repetitive. You had to like scout for intel, and then it would give you a mission, and then you do the mission, and then it would reveal that person's location, and then you go shoot them. But in Breakpoint, like there's a structure to it, and there's a story, and it immediately drops you into the story. There's main missions. It's essentially you can play it as a campaign if you want, pretty much, just going from mission to mission.
Yeah.
I feel like in my short time with Breakpoint, I played through. They give you like 5 or 6 main missions to play in the beta. I've done a lot more like focused sneaking than I have than in Wildlands. Like I infiltrated compounds. Like I got Metal Gear Solid 5 vibes, which I feel like is what they were going for with Wildlands. But here, so especially.
That's the thing with the stealth is that it's much improved.
Yeah.
Much improved from what it used to be. And it's not like you just kind of shoot one guy and then everyone knows you're there and then you have to like run around and kind of all chaos. You can actually like be smart about taking out certain guys, and you could go through like a whole outpost undetected, that kind of thing. So it actually feels like it matters that you want to go in stealth.
Yeah, and I think
just like
the removal of AI teammates is like I like that feature because I hated the squad in Wildlands. Once they added an option to turn them off, I did. People are kind of mad that they're taking out the AI squad, but I feel like the AI in that game is like dumb. I feel like the 3 squad mates were only useful when I told them what to do. Otherwise, they just kind of got in my way.
Yeah,
I feel like here it really reinforces that you are alone. You are one of the few remaining survivors of this crash, and you are on this island by yourself. But then you go into a social hub with like 30 other players, so whatever. I mean, I guess narratively it's justified because there are some other survivors, but like unless you're playing with co-op, no squad. They're gonna add it in a patch post-launch because people got mad, but just you. And I feel like that makes it better, in my opinion, because I feel like I have more control over what's going on, and I don't have to worry about the AI and like pick them up, things like that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure people were just up in arms on that because it's not typical of Ghost Recon to just not include a squad for you to command.
The squad plays like at the core of the experience, but I prefer to play this with real people instead of AI.
Yeah.
Story-wise, man, I'm really liking it. I feel like John Bernthal's character Walker is a great villain. I feel like the more I see it, in the beginning, I thought, okay, this is going to be a pretty standard shooter game story. Bad guy, he does bad things, but they have flashback sequences. He has a relationship with your character Nomad. Like they have been with each other. Like they've done things. Like there's a history there. Yeah, and you can see it, especially in the performances. Like John Bernthal, he looks like he doesn't want to be doing what he's doing, but like he feels like he has to. Yeah, he's a villain that feels like he's the good guy, and those are the best kind of villains.
Very anti-hero. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like his missions in Wildlands, they put it in this like a prequel kind of thing. He was kind of generic in those, but man, the more I see of him in Breakpoint, I'm actually very, very interested to jump back in when this game launches and like finish that campaign. I want to see where it goes. I want to see what happens, and I think the premise of like being on this island overtaken by a former ghost, like it's like what they try to do with the Black Tusk in the Division 2. Like they have your gear, they have your strategies. They're essentially just you, but on the other side, and I think that's really cool. Gameplay wise, like it's the same as Wildlands, but refined. I feel driving's a little better, but still awful.
Yeah, the driving is still very bad, very shaky. It's so ambiguous how it like handles the road. It's bad. But I will commend them for actually making the helicopter relatively easy to control,
it flies well.
A big improvement. Yeah.
So like it improves over Wildlands, but I want to talk about this game's identity issue. I think because it's pushing this hardcore survival kind of thing where you're alone behind enemy lines, but then you have the social hub and there's loot dropping and you can buy a sports car in the store and you can summon it at your camp. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel
it is a little weird tonally, just because it's kind of like on one hand it's a just cause. You can kind of roam around, build up this fortune, and kind of play it, chaotically as much as you want. But at the same time, they're just pushing this narrative of very serious like survival. You need to take out this bad guy, like. And then they push the story onto you, but at the same time, you can just it's kind of like how GTA is sometimes, where they try to push a story that's very serious or whatever, has serious tones, but then you run around and you shoot people, however you want to do. It's kind of similar.
Yeah, but GTA, I feel like that's satire, and they know it's satire, and they push it in that kind of way where silly things can still happen in the restraints of this world. But I feel like with Breakpoint, their game is aiming for a very, very serious tone, but the gameplay doesn't really mesh well with that. And I feel like the marketing for this game especially, like they did a live action trailer with Lil Wayne where like he's playing the game and he goes AFK and they do funny bits with that. Like that's not really what this game is about, I feel. Yeah. I just think that's an interesting point to bring up.
Yeah, but I think also at the same time it would be hard to market this game as a serious like major shooter, just because I mean, they tried to do that with Wildlands, and that game
sold like crazy.
It sold
Yeah,
like
it did.
crazy, but it fell off immediately.
That game has a very dedicated fan base. Like we don't see them very often because they only play Wildlands, but
Well,
people are dedicated to that game. There are some Ghost Recon fans out there, a lot of them actually. But yeah, I feel like Breakpoint for me is a lot better than Wildlands, and I am actually gonna finish this one this time around. I think because I fell off of Wildlands hard because it's just there's too much of not that great content in that game.
yeah.
Breakpoint is really cool. It's just the PC version is a mess, and I feel like this is a bad launch for Uplay Plus, which I want to talk about because this is their Uplay Plus launch last month. This is their subscription service where you get access to all their games on day one. This is the first AAA launch for Uplay Plus, and the PC version is a mess. That's not a good look, I don't think.
That's an understatement. Wow.
It's so bad. It's bad on console too. Oh, I want to talk about PvP. There's a PvP mode in this game. They added it post-launch in Wildlands, and it's here day one. It's called Ghost War. It's 4v4, no respawns. It's a death match. But like, there's an objective in the middle that will reveal the other team on the map, so you can see them. I played a lot of it. This game crashed my PlayStation 4 5 times last night.
That's
five times. And I played 3 hours. And that's when it didn't crash, it would give me connection issues, or I would get disconnected from my friends, or it would put me in a game where the entire enemy team would leave and it wouldn't give us the victory, so we had to wait up the 9-minute timer. That's
just crazy.
PvP is not ready.
And have they said anything about, hey, we know this game is bad? Nothing? Wow.
Okay, look, Keith, the state this game is in, PvP does not work. PvP is like needs at least 6 months more in the oven. There are a lot of bugs in the single player PvE as well. The beta ends Monday. The game comes out Monday night.
Yeah, I was gonna say the beta is much more like a PR move.
The beta like literally ends hours before release. Like, this game is not.
That's like the first time I've ever heard of that. Then, a couple days, maybe a week, maybe a month.
Normally with like betas like these, the open beta will close like a few days or the week before launch.
Right.
But early access for this game starts on Tuesday if you buy the gold edition. So the game is out Tuesday. It's not ready. It's not ready to ship. It needs polish and patches.
That's a damn shame.
Granted, the PvE experience, if you're just going to run through the missions and run the campaign with your friends and go around the open world, it's not bad at all. I mean, there's open world games have bugs. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
Stuff like animations wonking out, things like that, some dumb AI every now and then. It's playable. If you're going in for a PvP experience, don't. Hold off. It doesn't work. It's honestly one of the most broken PvP modes I've ever seen, ever. But I like the concept of it.
Yeah, it's not what I expect to get from that game anyway. I definitely am just gonna go in for the open world and playing with friends and kind of doing the story and stuff. It's not something I would jump in for anyway. But to hear the stuff, I mean, they said that they would at least like balance and like take out some of the perks and stuff, which is fine. But other than that, it doesn't look any challenging or anything like that. It just kind of looks meh. So.
Yeah. Plus, like, I don't know how much the loot is going to factor into like gameplay later in the game, because as it stands right now in the early game, it's pretty pointless. Your score doesn't really have that much of an effect. But like, I know there's going to be a raid for this game. That's new. That's weird for Ghost Recon, I think, to have a raid, 4-player raid with matchmaking. Keith, I know that you're happy to hear that.
I don't care. I'm still pissed off at the Division 2. I'm so mad at that game because I love the game, and then that
game fell off, man.
So hard. So damn hard. It's like, oh, what's that game? Division 2. What are you doing? Nothing.
That only came out 6 months ago, man. That feels like it was years ago.
Yeah, literally like so long ago.
And it pisses me off. It's like you spent this money and it feels like you didn't get your money's worth. Like, I
don't know. I feel like there's a lot of content in that game. I feel like there's a $60 game in there.
And all the news that came out and all the updates and stuff to us, like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I tried to jump in, but like it's just too much. I'm not doing it. But yeah, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I feel like it's pushing for that kind of vibe. It's just with obviously a more tactical kind of approach to it. I feel like those two aspects of the game are clashing with each other. It's the same issue I kind of had with Anthem, where that game single player and multiplayer kind of soured both parts of that experience. But like Ghost Recon is just a tone thing. So if you can get past that, there's a good game here, I think. Just mired in some technical issues. There's a good story this time around. There's a lot of good gameplay. I'm very happy with the way this game turned out, and I want to play it on Friday when it launches.
Yeah.
But that's that on Ghost Recon, and that is actually that for all of our topics. So we made it through another show, guys.
Wait, we're out? We're done?
That's it.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, I know. We got to stop talking about video games. Oh, man.
Damn it. I mean, there's nothing else we can talk about. Literally nothing else.
Unless you have something up your sleeve. There's nothing else on
considering that I'm wearing a tank top, no.
Oh, nothing? No secrets in there?
No,
Man.
unfortunately.
Oh, it's almost like we do this show weekly, and if you want more video game like news and opinions and hot takes, you should come back next week.
Yeah,
Ooh,
just,
now there's an idea.
stay tuned. Next week on
and if
Dragon Ball Z.
If you want to hear more about Ghost Recon Breakpoint, you can go read my impressions on the Outerhaven.net too. That's cool.
Ooh.
You can totally do that.
Yeah, and check out Keith's review of the Search 2 when that goes up too.
Whenever that goes up.
Yeah,
God damn it.
Outerhaven.net, bookmark it, homepage. Yeah.
But seriously though, Destiny 2, Shadowkeep, who's jumping on this Tuesday?
I don't know if I'll have time, but I'll be on like this weekend for sure.
I'll
this
probably-
week.
I'm preloaded.
Yeah,
so-
I'm there. I feel like we're all gonna be there.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I get to have a fire team to actually do stuff because
Oh, yeah, dude.
other people were on it. Other people on the site were playing, and then they stopped playing it.
Yeah, that bothered me with Destiny 1 a lot because I always wanted to do a raid and nobody was around.
Yep, I didn't get to do any of the raids. None of the raids made me so salty.
Those are some
And
good raids too.
they got some good stuff. And it's like, nope, nobody wants to play with you, Keith. It must be your deodorant or something. Sorry.
Yeah,
All
there's
right,
gonna be
well-
a lot of Destiny talk next week for sure
yeah.
from
Oh,
all
it's gonna
three
be
of us. I
so
think.
much fun.
I always love it when we all play one game and bring it to the show. I feel like that's like when we did that with Control. That was a great bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I expect a lot of Shadowkeep talk next week. But for this week, that is it for the show. So for me, Keith, and Rob, this is us signing off.
The RTX 2080 Super.